Every Fortnite map is provided with POIs, or named locations, as Epic likes to refer to them. However, the map also has a lot of locations without names, and a lot of them go unnoticed. These places sometimes have a really cool aesthetic, and some have a surprising amount of loot, like the prison outside of Moisty Mire, for example. It had a cool theme and a decent amount of loot, but it wasn't quite significant enough to be a named location. So today we're going to be talking about the best of these unknown locations. Just like the other Fortnite location videos, I'm going to talk about 2 from each chapter, so 10 in total. But real quick, before we get into the video, just want to say, be sure to like if you like this kind of content, comment below, let me know what you think of this video, subscribe, use code RIVEN in the item shop, love you, join the Discord server, enjoy the video. And quick disclaimer before we get into this, I'm going to refer to these locations by their nickname that I have for them, so I'm sorry if I don't call it the same thing that you do. Number 1, we've got the race track, Paradise Palms. This is why I love some of these named locations. A lot of times they have cooler themes than most POIs do. And I should clarify, I'm talking about the racetrack in the desert biome, so season 5. If I'm not mistaken, the racetrack existed before Paradise Palms and the desert biome, but it was just like a dirt road pretty much. However, the Paradise Palms racetrack was fully kitted like a max health boss. Season 5 is when ATKs, golf carts, whatever you want to call them, were introduced, and with that, the track had proper guardrails, a scoreboard, and tires on the outside of the track. You could also time your laps if you drove over the finish line, and it would display your time on the actual scoreboard. This really was the first glimpse of legitimate racing that we ever saw in the game. And as far as actual loot goes, there were 2 garages, one on the north side and one on the south, as well as some bleachers to view the racing. A full squad could land here and easily get a decent loadout. It's definitely not a super contested, busy location, but I mean, Paradise Palms and Retail Row are right around the corner. I landed racetrack so much during Season OG, and it was just as good as I remembered it was. This is a really cool, fun spot, and I think it's a really great location. Number 2, we got Viking Village. Viking Village was a nice little place located on top of a very tall mountain on the east side of Snobby Shores. I think that out of all the locations on the list, people are most passionate about this one. And for good reason. There was plenty of loot here, and the theme was very good. I like the fact that the buildings are all like very minimalist, and they have sort of like a medieval Viking vibe to them. Like they're all made of straw and sticks and rocks, and there's handcrafted wood furnishes on the inside, and the big Viking ship was a really nice touch. Also, in Season 5, there were rifts all around the mountain it sat on, so there was plenty of movement. And that's good because for some reason the left side of the map was seemingly never in zone. And as far as loot goes, there was probably enough for 2 full squads. Probably you could get that much. Viking Village could have easily been a named location, in my opinion, but I'm glad it wasn't because then more people would have landed there. The thing that's great about these unnamed locations is that not a lot of people know about them, so not many people land at those places. Viking Village is no exception. This is a fantastic location, and it gets a lot of love, and it deserves it. Number 3, we got Orchard. Not the Orchard, just Orchard. This is what I called it. Chapter 2 had a lot of cool little spots that appeared on the map over time, like the little alien bases in Season 7 and the little spire towers in Season 6. But Orchard was around since the beginning, however. Orchard was a cool and calm little spot that lay just southwest of Steamy Stacks and just north of Frenzy Farm. At Orchard, you'd find a pretty big house, a good-sized barn, some little crop gardens, and a farmer's market. As Chapter 2 progressed, other little structures like the pizza pit appeared outside the orchard, and it also got crushed by Stark Industries in Chapter 2 Season 4, but we won't talk about that. This place was stacked for loot. The house had plenty of floor spawns and chests to loot, and so did the barn and the farmer's market. The house was sort of like the big house at Anarchy Acres, or Frenzy Farm, I guess. They're kind of the same. So, I mean, it was huge. Like, it's a big house. The barn was also like the one at Fatal Fields, or Anarchy Acres, or Frenzy Farm. And the farmer's market was like a nom shop. It had plenty of fruits and vegetables if you like using those type of healing items. There were also slurp barrels in a little room inside the farmer's market in case you needed a shield. Also, there were a bunch of trees and fences you could mine to get lots of wood. It's safe to say Orchard could support a full squad, at least, in a real game. As far as aesthetic goes, I really like it. It's very calm. There were never usually too many people there. It kind of was like all the farm POIs, just a little bit smaller and quieter. Orchard was one of my favorite places to drop in Chapter 2, and I think it deserves a ton of respect. Number 4, we got the Sky Base spot. There's not too many better feelings than when your friend said, let's build a sky base this game, and you started to glide towards this place. I don't know what everyone else calls this place, so let me know in the comments what you called this spot. But like my nickname states, this spot was really good for a sky base because you could get max wood and brick, like guaranteed, and a good bit of metal too. All the wooden pallets on the truck outside, as well as inside the little factory building, max wood. Not to mention, this place also had the Greasy Grove restaurant, so get bonus points there. There's a decent amount of loot here, always for a full squad, and usually not too many people landed here. And if you wanted action, Holly Hedges was right down the road, so you could say this location's placement was very good as well. I love the fact that this place was in the same spot in comparison to where Greasy Grove was in Chapter 1. Like, it's the same, like, location, pretty much. This spot was just really good for everything. The one bad thing I'd say about it is the aesthetic. It just feels kind of random to have a factory building outside the restaurant. There's not really any continuity there, but that's really not a big deal. I don't care that much about it. I don't really think they wanted this spot to have a cool theme, and that's fine. I got to land at a Greasy Grove restaurant, so I mean, I have to be grateful. This is a really good spot, and I had some fantastic memories here. Number 5, we got Sunny Steps. And before you, actually, yes, I'm aware. Sunny Steps was the name of an actual POI, Chapter 1, Season 8. I get it. This place looked just like it, so that's what I called it. Womp womp. Now, I'm not gonna lie. This was a pretty small location, but it was literally right outside of Daily Bugle, like literally right outside, so it didn't really matter. I would usually land here for arena solos and duos, and it was pretty good. I was on con most of the time, and there would sometimes be like another person or two. This place had a decent amount of loot, but not too much. There were a good bit of chest spawns and floor spawns, and there were slurp barrels to get shield from. This place was best when you were alone, not gonna lie. If you were conned, you had to fight right away pretty much to secure the good loot. But like I said, Daily Bugle was literally right there, so you could divert there if you wanted better loot. And I believe there was also a 7 base not too far away either, so you could go there and like rift away if you needed to. Aesthetically, I love this place. I love the bright colors, all the Mayan architecture, or whatever it is, Incan, Aztec, I don't know. There was a little face in one of the walls, and it had slurp barrels like coming out the nose and the mouth. That was really cool. I've always loved like the Sunny Steps, I love the like Latin American design POIs. Overall, this was a good spot to land, and I landed here a lot. Number 6, Snowy 7 base. So in Chapter 3, there are a bunch of little 7 bases littered all over the map. Now, most of them were the same, but I specifically like this one because of its location. I like that it's very secluded and on top of a mountain. I also like that it's near Sleepy Sound and Shifty Shafts, and also Logjam Lumberyard if you care about it. That's actually pretty good though too, because you know you get a lot of materials from there, so yeah, that's good. There was also a little gas station to the south you could go to, a big mansion to the east, and a little shipyard with a crane to the northeast. Each of these 7 bases had a few rifts outside of them, so you could pretty much go anywhere on the north side from this particular base because it was on top of a mountain. There was also a Spider-Man mythic chest that spawned here, and there was a vault inside of it too. Safe to say this base was in a pretty good spot. Aesthetically, there's not too much of the actual base, but I do like that it's in the snow biome. That's pretty good aesthetically. This was a really good spot to land, not because it itself was really good, but because of the access you had when landing here. Number 7, we got mini bases. So for this, I'm actually doing all 3 of these bases because they're all pretty much the same. I called these mini bases because they're basically mini versions of Brutal Bastion. They were all designed the same pretty much, and they all had a launch pad. The one by Lonely Labs was definitely the best because it was the biggest, but they were all pretty good. So actually, what I used to do in Arena, I used to land at the big base, launch to a zip line, and take it to the other base, and then take the launch pad there to the other base. It was a good way to get loot. You were stacked after you did that. I remember there was this one annoying chest in the outside area by the launch pad and all the bases, and it sat on this pillar, and you had to mine 2 structures in order to get it. It was so annoying. Aesthetically, I can't say much about these bases. They're just stone structures with different floors. I mean, there's not much to them. I like that they're all in the snow, and I like that they all have launch pads, but that's about it. These are really good arena drop spots, and I like them. I landed here a lot. Number 8, we got Mega City Racetrack. 2 racetracks in one video? So yeah, apparently Epic is really good at making racetracks, because this one is just about as good as the Paradise Palms one was. This spot had a surprising amount of loot despite having like 0 actual buildings. This one was like in the middle of nowhere, so there wasn't a whole lot of buildings around it. There was just like one weird tower thingy that had like 2 chest spawns, but that was like the only building. This spot was good because it had a lot of slap and slurp barrels, so you could basically get guaranteed full shield. And I think there was a slurp truck around here too. Don't quote me on that. There wasn't usually any action here, but Mega City was pretty close by, so, and there were car and motorcycle spawns, obviously because it's a racetrack, so if you wanted to get there quickly, you could. Aesthetically, it's tough to say whether I like this one or the Paradise Palms racetrack better. Despite my dislike for most of the map changes in Chapter 4 Season 2, I did like how the blue biome looked. I wasn't really a big fan of any of the POIs, but I did like how the biome looked, so racetrack was a pretty good fit for me. Mega City racetrack was a cool little spot, and I would land there a good bit in Chapter 4 Season 2. Number 5, the Yacht. Before you actually, yes, I'm aware the Yacht is already the name of a POI from Chapter 2 Season 2. I get it. This is just what I called it. Womp womp. I'm not gonna lie, it's tough for me to pick 2 locations from the Chapter 5 map. 1, because I haven't played it as much as all the other maps, because it has been out as long. 2, I don't land at unnamed locations this chapter. I guess because ranked is not great this chapter, I don't really play it, so I don't really land at quiet locations. But no matter. I do like this yacht. It's pretty similar to the Chapter 2 one, just a bit smaller and more empty. This is really just a quieter version of the Chapter 2 yacht. There's a decent amount of loot here. I mean, about enough for a full squad. I really don't have much to say about it, because I never landed here too often. It's cool. Next location. Number 10, the Fall Guys chorus. You know what? I wasn't gonna count this, but screw it. I'm counting it. I know technically it's in classy courts, but it's way above it, and it has nothing to do with classy courts, so I'm counting it. I'm very biased because I love Fall Guys. Even to this day, in its dead phase. I mean, I still play it. I'm not gonna lie, I don't love the Fall Guys collab, but I think the fact that you can play a Fall Guys map inside BR is really cool, even if I hate the movement and jump mechanics. So basically, you land on the course. This is brand new, by the way. So basically, you land on the course, try to complete it in a certain amount of time in order to get good loot. The faster you finish, the better loot you get. It's kind of like the Mothership minigame from Chapter 2 Season 7. The loot you usually get is pretty mid, but I mean, it's a good way to get early game shields and weapons. Just watch out, because there are a lot of people waiting to kill you as you glide down from finishing the minigame. You don't really play the minigame. You don't really land there for the loot. You just land there to play the Fall Guys minigame. And as far as aesthetic goes, I love the aesthetic of the Fall Guys course. I've always loved Fall Guys art style and aesthetic, and I love that they added it to the map. It's so like, it's so weird to see, because it's like the snow biome, and then it's just like all these bright colors above on the map. It's funny. This is a really cool addition to the game, and I'm really glad that I get to land here from now until next season in a week. Other than that, that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just be sure to like this video if you like this kind of content. Be sure to let me know what you think about all this. Be sure to subscribe if you like this video. Join the Discord server. Link will be in the top of the description. Turn on the bell icon so that you're notified when I'm live, because I'm starting to stream a lot more. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support. I love you. Peace out.